Next question is cornea transplant. Cornea transplant. Cornea transplant in human is almost almost never rejected. Never rejected. Never rejected. Cornea transplant in human is almost never rejected. This is because, okay, this is because okay, number A, its cells are at least penetrable by bacteria. Number A, its cells are almost least penetrable by bacteria. Least penetrable by bacteria. Okay, number B. Here, okay, it has no blood supply. It has no blood supply. It has no blood supply. C. Okay, will be, it is composed of enucleated cells. It is composed of enucleated cells. Okay. Number D. It is a non-living layer. It is a non-living layer. So now here, you see the cornea transplant in human is almost never rejected. The reason they have given, 4 options they have given, its cells are almost least penetrable by bacteria, means the cells are not affected or infected by bacteria, and then it has no blood supply. Okay, no blood supply. Cornea has, they say that it does not have any arteries or veins to supply the blood, and then it is composed of enucleated cells. Cells do not have nucleus, and then it is a non-living layer. Okay, very much so. Cornea transplant in human is almost never rejected. What will be the reason behind that?
Option B, sir.
Option B, yeah. Option B, that is the cornea has got here no blood supply. If you look at the cornea of the eye, okay, this cornea, this part is the cornea of the eye, the bulging part, okay, white of the eye is called the cornea of the eye, and this has got here no blood supply. That's why it can never rejected. Okay, so answer number, we go to answer number B. Take there answer number B. Okay, now here we go to answer number B. Okay. Just write down here, so 2 lines only. Okay, the cornea is a transparent, around there. Cornea is a transparent portion of the anterior of the eye. Cornea is a transparent portion of the anterior of the eye. And it forms 1/6 of the eyeball. And it forms 1/6 of the eyeball. 1/6 of the eyeball. You see, the 1/6 area of the eyeball is made up of the cornea. Okay, this is the transparent layer, and out of 6 one part of the eye of the total eye is formed by the cornea. Stop there. Cornea admits and helps to focus light. Cornea admits and helps to focus light waves. Cornea admits and helps to focus the light waves which enter into the eye. Which enter into the eye. Okay, stop there. It is a which enter into the eye. Stop. It is a vascular part of the eye. It is a vascular, vascular, vascular part of the eye, and it has no blood supply, and it has no blood supply. Okay, that much. Then after that we go to next question now. Okay. Okay, okay, now we'll go to next question now. Today there is a vaccination day started for that coronavirus, no? So maybe the doctors and health workers, they are supposed to take today, and after the first dose they have to wait for 21 days. Again after 21 days they have to take second dose. After second dose again 15 days they have to wait. After 15 days of second dose they will develop the immunity against the coronavirus. So after 21 days, 15 days wait, then all right. Then after that, I think for 1 year, at least you will be saved from corona. If the germs enter also, they will be, the antibodies will fight and they will be not seriously affected. And after some time, it will be all right, like that. But the person who takes the vaccination, they have to wear mask again, because if they are infected, they will not be affected, but they may infect the others. That's why they have to wear the mask. All the people they are vaccinated, there will be herd immunity developed, no? Because all have got the immune system, so nobody will be affected. So it will take time, maybe May, June, July, it will take time. And almost 80% are inoculated, then means up to July it will take time. After July, I think it will be over. So let's hope so. That and pray to God that this should be over. No, after that. Okay, next question. Which one of the following is the correct difference? Which one of the following? Which one of the following is the? Which one of the following is the correct difference? Correct difference. Difference. Which of the following is the correct difference between the rod cells and cone cell of our retina? Between the rod cell and cone cell. Between the rod cells and cone cells of retina, of our retina. Okay. Retina. So here the questions you have to write like this. Okay, one side write on the rod cell. Okay, and other side write the cone cells. Cone cells. Okay. One side you have to write the character. Okay, character. There is a question there. Character. Okay. So now go to number A. Is visual activity. Visual activity. Number A. Visual activity. Okay. Here, rod cell visual activity will be high. They say that, and in the cone cell visual activity will be less, or we can say low. Okay. Then number B. Okay, the visual pigment contained. Visual pigment. Visual pigment contained. Contained. Visual pigment contained. So here in the rod cell, visual pigment will be okay. Iodopsin. Iodopsin. In the cone cell, visual pigment will be rhodopsin. Rhodopsin. Okay. Rhodopsin, they say that. Visual pigment will be rhodopsin. C will be okay. Okay. Overall function. overall function. Overall function. Okay, vision in poor light. Vision in poor light. Okay, that means the rod cell helps the vision in the poor light also. And the color with cone cell, they say the color vision and the dilated vision. Color vision and dilated vision. And dilated color vision and dilated vision. Okay, dilated vision in bright light. In bright light. Color vision and the dilated vision in bright light. Okay, then we have the number D now. Is a distribution. Distribution. Okay. Distribution. So here more concentrated in center of retina. Rod cell are, they say that more concentrated in the center of retina. In the center of retina. Retina. And the cone cells are evenly distributed all over retina. Evenly distributed. The cone cells evenly distributed all over retina. All over retina. Cone cells are evenly distributed all over retina. Okay. Each of the following statement is the correct difference between the rod cell and the cone cell. Each of the following is the correct difference between the rod cell and cone cell of our retina. Okay. Okay, so here, if you look at the rod cell and cone cell, you find if you look at the retina of the eye, okay, the last layer of the human eye is called as the retina of the eye. The last layer, if you go there, okay, this is the sclerotic layer, then the choroid layer, sclerotic, okay, sclerotic. This second layer is the choroid, and last layer is retina. Okay, so retina of the human eye, it is made of two kinds of cells. We already know that rod cell and cone cell. Rod cells are responsible for the color vision, and the cone cell are responsible for the brightness of light. So the difference is their character visual activity. Visual activity in the rod cell, it will be high, and the cone cell, it will be low. Okay. Second, they are asking that iodopsin, rod cell contain iodopsin, cone cell contain rhodopsin. This is wrong one. Rod cell actually contain the rhodopsin and the cone cell contain iodopsin. Third one, the overall function, vision in the poor light. Okay, vision, this cone cell helps in the vision in the poor light, and color vision and the dilated vision in the bright light will be possible by the rod cell. Okay, then the last one, the rod cells are more concentrated in the center of the retina and evenly distributed all over retina. So here, rod cells are evenly distributed all over, they are more concentrated in the center of retina. The cone cell are more concentrated in the center of retina, and rod cell are evenly distributed all over retina, right? Okay, so because if you want to see the color vision, it should be everywhere, okay, on the retina. Now, these are the wrong answers. So the correct difference is their rod cell visual activity will be high, and in the cone cell visual activity will be very low because of the presence of the color vision. Rod cell visual activity is high, and because of the presence of the brightness of light, they are stimulated by brightness of light, so the visual activity in the cone cell will be low, right? So correct answer will be number A. Okay, correct answer will be number A. So this one, I think no need of writing anything, just you can write there. Okay, visual activity I have explained, so no need of writing much here. Okay, this answer I have given you, rhodopsin is where and iodopsin is where, so no need of that. So now, again we will go to, today we try to complete the chapter, okay? We try to complete this whole chapter because now no more time there. Okay, so during the propagation of a nerve impulse, now second, next question there. Okay. All right. During the propagation of a nerve impulse, during the propagation of a nerve impulse, okay, the action potential results from the movement of the action potential means here the potential difference. Okay, the action potential, very important point. Action potential results from the movement of. From the movement of, that day we have discussed the potassium ion and sodium ion. So potassium ion will goes out and sodium ion will enter. For the free potassium ion, 2 sodium ion we have done. So number 1 here, potassium ion from, okay, option number A now, the potassium ion from extracellular fluid, extracellular fluid, potassium ion from extracellular fluid to intracellular fluid, intracellular fluid, okay, to intracellular fluid. Number B, which is sodium ions, sodium ions from intracellular fluid, intracellular fluid to extracellular fluid, extracellular fluid. Okay. Then here number C. Okay. Potassium ions from intracellular fluid, intracellular fluids to extracellular fluids, intracellular fluids to extracellular fluids. Okay, then we have number D. Okay, sodium ions, Na plus, sodium ions from extracellular fluid, extracellular fluid to intracellular fluid, intracellular fluid. Okay. So during the propagation of the nerve impulse, during the propagation of nerve impulse, the action potential results from the movement of body. The potential difference results from the movement. Suppose this is an axon here. This is an axon, and this is axon. Now the action potential. When action potential results, then what will happen? This is called as exoplasm. Inside there is exoplasm, and this is outside. So, okay, this is exoplasm, and inside this is endoplasm or the plasma inside. Okay, inside the axon. So outside, the extracellular fluids are there outside. Outside we have the sodium ion, inside the potassium ion, before the action potential, before the action, when they are in the resting state. The resting state, sodium ion of the axon. Suppose this will be our neuron, no? This will be neuron. Okay, these are dendrites. This is the axon terminal nerve ending. These are the dendrites. This is the cytone or the cell body, no? Cytone or the cell body is there. These are the dendrites are there, and this is the axon. This will be myelin sheath like this. Okay, these are the myelin sheath, and this will be nerve ending. So here, if the there will be, if the nerve are at the rest, if the axon are at the rest, so resting condition, sodium ion are outside and potassium ion are inside. When there is a potential difference, then what will happen there? Action potential results from movement, potassium ion from extracellular fluid to intracellular fluid, sodium ion from intracellular fluid to extracellular. Okay, sodium ion from outside, there will be like this. Okay, there will be like this. This is the potassium already gone outside, and the sodium has entered inside after the potential difference. So during action potential, what will happen? Can you tell me, anybody of you? The question, let's see the question there. Mm, If the action potential applied, then the sodium ion from outside enter into inside, and potassium ion will goes outside. Okay, this condition will attain if there is the action potential. So here answer will be our sodium ion from extracellular fluid enter into intracellular fluid. Okay, and the potassium ion from the intracellular fluid will goes into extracellular fluid. So answer will be number D here. This sodium ion from extracellular fluid to intracellular fluid. Just write down a line there. Okay. During the nerve impulse, this girl write down, please. Last brain there. Write down. During the nerve impulse, when a stimulus of adequate strength. During a nerve impulse, when a stimulus of adequate strength is applied to a polarized membrane, comma, the permeability of the membrane, to sodium ion. The permeability of membrane to sodium ion is increased at the point of stimulation. The permeability of the membrane to sodium ion is increased at the point of stimulation. At the point of stimulation, stop there. As a result, the sodium ion channels. As a result, the sodium ion channel CHANNELS, sodium ion channels allows the influx of sodium ion by diffusion. Allow the influx of INFL, influx of sodium ion by diffusion into the intracellular fluid from extracellular fluid okay, from extracellular fluid, that much. Okay, this is about the action potential. Polarized. When the neuron membrane will be polarized, then the sodium channel gate open, no? And sodium enter inside, sodium ion will enter inside, and the potassium ion will go out in the extracellular fluid, right? Okay. There will be the sodium and potassium gates are there, no? Here, okay, channels are there, sodium and potassium channels are there. Through these channels, sodium enter and see the potassium will come out, okay? And this is also called as the sodium potassium pump also. Sodium potassium pump will operate when the axon membrane will be polarized. And when it will be depolarized, then here the sodium potassium gate will open, the channel will close here. Sodium potassium channel will close when it will be depolarized, and there will be no entry of the sodium and potassium, right? So you have to remember the two main types of the stages are there. When a stimulus is applied, the nerve membrane or axon membrane will be here, see, polarized, and sodium potassium gate will open, and sodium ion will go outside from this will come here from the extracellular fluid. It will enter into intracellular fluid, and the potassium ion from the intracellular fluid, it goes into the extracellular fluid. Potassium and sodium will enter inside the intracellular fluid, and the potassium will go into the extracellular fluid. Okay, this one you have to remember all the time. Okay, then we go to next question now. This question and one more question we have given before earlier. These two questions they ask mostly in the exam. Okay, now okay, this also one more question. During the transmission of nerve impulse, this was question also many times they have asked. During the transmission of nerve impulse, during the transmission of nerve impulse, the action potential results from the nerve impulse through a nerve fiber. Nerve impulse through a nerve fiber. During the transmission of nerve impulse through a nerve fiber, okay, the potential, okay, the potential on the inner side, the potential on the inner side, potential on the inner side of the plasma membrane, inner side of the plasma membrane, potential on the inner side of the plasma membrane has which type of electric charge? has which type of electric charge? Which type of electric charge? Okay, electric charge. Online student also please write this one. Has which type of electric charge? Question mark there. So option number A, there first they say that negative. Okay, first FIRST, first negative, negative. Okay, first negative. Okay, then positive. First negative, then let's see, positive, positive, and again back to negative, and again back to negative, and again back to negative. Okay, then number B now. Let's see, first positive, first positive, positive, then negative, and continued to be negative, and continued to be negative, continued to be negative. Okay, then C we have, okay, first negative, then positive, first negative, then positive. Okay, then continued to be positive, and continued to be, let's see, positive, continued to be positive, and the last one, last option they are given here, first positive, then negative, and again back to positive, and again back to positive, and again back to positive. Okay, now here they are saying that during the transmission of nerve impulse through a nerve fiber, the potential on the inner side of the plasma membrane. Just now we have done the axon, no? This is an axon, and this is connected by the plasma membrane, no, outside, and there will be cytone, dendrites are there. So here, this inside we have this will be the intracellular fluid, and inside we have the plasma, and outside extracellular fluids are there. So we know that here outside there will be the sodium ion, and inside potassium ion. Okay. Now sodium ion, they are more positive as compared to the potassium ion. Okay. Actually, it should be like this. Condition is like that. Outside will be positive, inside negative, when the membrane is at the rest. Axon membrane at rest. So they say that when the nerve transmission is across the neural membrane takes place, then what will happen to the potential difference? Potential difference means what? In the electricity, we know potential difference is what? Difference between the electric charges. So the difference between the number of electric charges is called as the potential difference. Suppose a wire, we take a conductor or a wire, the current will flow into wire if there is a potential difference. Means here one side of the wire will have the high concentration of the charge, and other side of the wire will have the less concentration of the charge. Suppose here amount of positive charge is more, amount of negative, and here amount of positive charge will be less. Then we see there is a difference in the charges, and the current will flow from positive to negative. They say that, but the main current will flow from negative to positive. That's called as electronic current, no? That's called as the electronic current. So now, so here we can say that when the nerve impulse is applied, the potential on the inner side of the plasma membrane will be negative first. Okay, it is negative, then it becomes positive because the sodium ion enters, and again potassium ion will leave, and again sodium ion will leave and potassium ion enter, it will be negative again. So first it will be positive, first it will be negative in the beginning, then it will be positive, then again it will be negative, like this. Okay, so answer number A is correct. Okay, first negative, then it will be positive, then negative, back to negative again, because the sodium ion will go out, potassium ion will enter. Okay, so answer number A we write down there. Okay, so here, okay, no need of writing anything. That much we can say. Okay, then after that we go to, yes, hello, yes, yes, hello, hello. Okay, then Bowman's glands are located on. Now next question there, Bowman's glands, BOWMAN apostrophe S. Was it negative, then positive and negative? You remember all the time. When there is a nerve impulse, a potential, negative, then positive, then negative. In the exam, it is important. Just remember like that. And a Bowman's gland, BOWMAN apostrophe S. Bowman's gland, it also came in the exam of the IPMT. Bowman's glands are located in the Bowman's glands are located in the number A, proximal end of the uriniferous tubules. Proximal end. Okay. Proximal end of uriniferous tubules. Number B. Okay. It'll be anterior pituitary. Then we have number C. Okay, it will be female reproductive system of cockroach. Female reproductive system of cockroach. Female reproductive system of cockroach. Okay, then we have number D. It will be the olfactory epithelium of our nose. Olfactory epithelium of our nose. Okay. Bowman's gland is related with the sense of the smell. And it is located on the olfactory epithelium of our nose. Okay, because it is the Bowman's gland is related with sense of smell. Very simple, but terms if you don't remember, you cannot answer. So this is always related with the olfaction or smell. Okay. Okay. Then we have okay. Okay, now the very simple type of questions here. Okay, that you also know that very simple questions related to that. Which one of the following pairs of structure distinguishes? Which of the following pairs of which of the following pairs of structures structures distinguishes? Very simple. Okay, distinguishes which of the following pairs of structures distinguishes a nerve cell, okay, from other type of cell, very very simple question. Other type of cell. How do you differentiate our nerve cell or neuron from other type of cells? Okay, number A, option A they have given. It is the okay perikaryon and dendrites. Perikaryon, Karyon, perikaryon and dendrites, Dendrites, perikaryons and dendrites. Then we have vacuoles and fibers, number B, vacuoles and fibers, number C. Okay, we have the flagellum and medullary seat, flagellum and medullary seat, SSEATH, medullary seat, number D. Okay, we have nucleus and mitochondria, mitochondria, okay. Mitochondria, okay. If you compare a simple cell, this is animal cell, and a neuron, okay. Suppose this is a neuron or the nerve cell here. So, how do you differentiate them according to the option given here? Okay, the nerve cell, it contained the dendrites. It contained what? Dendrites. And it contained also the cell body. Okay. And cell body contain here Nissal's granules. Okay, but here in the normal cell, dendrites are absent. Okay, then Nissl granules are absent in the cell body. Okay, so which is the correct answer? If you just differentiate a normal cell and a neuron or nerve cell, sometimes it is asked there. Suppose you go to study the MBBS course, so in the practical exam they will supply you the slides containing neuron, containing simple cells like that, and they will ask you to differentiate between the two slides. How do you differentiate? Okay, so here you differentiate this cell body. Nerve cell has got this cell body, or cell body is also called as the perikaryon, and the dendrites are there, and these two are absent. Cell body as first containing Nissl granule is absent in the simple cell. So our answer will be perikaryon and the dendrites. Okay, these are there in the nerve cell, these are absent in the normal cell. These are found in the nerve cell. Okay, this is very simple question, but very tactfully you have to answer this question. Next question now we'll like here. Okay. Uh, hmm. is very, you cannot think also this type of question is there. So let's do that question now, because this will be nowhere related, but it is related to your syllabus, but it is not given in the directly in the book, but it is related with the syllabus. Okay. So such kind of question will be asked. You cannot complain to the NEET also that why you have asked this question. It is there in the syllabus, but it is related. Okay. So question: which of the following statement is correct? Which one? Very simple. Which one of the following statement is correct? Following statement is correct. Which of the following statement is correct? Okay. So okay. So here number A. Which of the following statement is correct? Number A. Neurons regulate endocrine activity. Neurons regulate endocrine activity. Neurons regulate endocrine activity, but not vice versa. Vice versa means that endocrine activity do not regulate the neuron activity. Okay, then number B now. Okay, endocrine glands regulate the neural activity. Endocrine glands regulate neural activity. Endocrine glands regulate neural activity, and nervous system regulates endocrine glands. And nervous system regulates endocrine glands. Nervous system regulates endocrine glands. Okay. Endocrine glands, number C. Okay, neither hormone control okay, neither hormone control neural activity, nor the neuron controls endocrine activity. Nor the neuron control endocrine activity. Number D now. Okay, endocrine glands regulate neural activity. Endocrine gland. Okay, glands regulate. Endocrine glands regulate neural activity. But not vice versa. Okay, but not vice versa. Okay, endocrine glands, know that these are the ductless glands which secrete the hormone in the extracellular, okay, area in between the cells, no, in the intercellular spaces. From there, the hormone will reach into the bloodstream, right? So the hormone or the endocrine glands, the secretion of the hormones by endocrine glands is controlled by autonomic nervous system, because there is a feedback mechanism. Suppose, as for example, we say that the hormone of the the amount of the insulin hormone. Okay, insulin hormone in the blood. So now, if there will be more amount of glucose, suppose this is the amount of glucose, if there is more amount, then there will be secretion of the insulin hormone will be more. Secretion will be more. This is the insulin hormone, suppose. Okay, means the amount of the insulin hormone will be more if this is the amount of the glucose. Now, if so that insulin will change the excess of glucose into glycogen, and glycogen will be stored in the liver. And in this way, the amount of glucose will be less, and these people will not suffer from the diabetic activity. Okay, they will not be diabetic because the glucose will be at a constant level or constant amount in the blood. So now, if the amount of glucose will decrease in the blood, then amount of insulin hormone also will decrease. This will be done by autonomic nervous system. There is, suppose there is an autonomic machine. No? Suppose you keep a machine. Suppose you go to one coffee shop. No, there is a coffee machine is there. Then ask him to give you 1 cup of coffee. They will put a cup there down, and you will on the switch, and the coffee will come. That much amount of coffee will fall. And when the cup will fill, the coming out of coffee will stop. That is the autonomic regulation, we can say that. So here also in the body also, all the mechanism takes place by itself. We are nowhere to control. If you want to control by force our activity, then we get sick. Suppose, okay, somebody, we take the normal amount of the food. Rice, dal, vegetable, chicken, fish, whatever you take. But on the top of the food, if you start taking unwanted material in the body, just like you take the alcohol. Suppose some people will take alcohol is not required by the body. Okay, alcohol will not be required at all by body. If you incorporate the alcohol in the body, then it will damage the other system, and the person gets sick. Because whole system of the body is autonomic, it is self-regulated. We are no one to stop it or to, suppose you think more. You think more at that time, the tension will start. You don't have to think. The body says you don't think, because all the activities are done autonomically in the body. So, what makes you think? If you think more, there will be there's some effect in the system. Maybe there will be the gastric problem will come, the nervous problem will come. If you think more, heartbeat will increase. All these activity, why? Because you are taking all the function by yourself. You should not take the function of the body by yourself. This will be regulated autonomously. So here also the endocrine system. This will be regulated by autonomic nervous system. So answer will be neuron regulate the endocrine activity, but endocrine system does not regulate the neuron. So answer number A is correct. Okay. So that's why I say this is there in the question, but not directly related. Okay. Next question now. Okay. Then we go to one more question now. Which class after this you have? Okay. Okay, one question, we go to last question maybe, because you have the physics class, no? Okay, so one of the example of the extent of the autonomic nervous system, extent of autonomic nervous system, is, okay, number A, knee jerk response. Knee jerk response. Number B will be papillary reflex. Knee jerk response. There, number A, knee J-E-R-K, jerk response. Number B, papillary, P-A-P-I-L-L-A-R-Y, papillary reflex. Papillary reflex. Number C will be swallowing of food. Swallowing of food. Swallowing of food. Okay. Number D will be peristalsis of intestine. Peristalsis. Peristalsis of intestine. Peristalsis of intestine. So which one is an autonomic nervous response now? Knee jerk response and papillary reflex, these are reflex action in the body. Okay, they are controlled at the level of spinal cord. Okay, and swallowing of the food, this is the response of the central nervous system, right? And then the peristalsis of intestine, the movement of the wall of the intestine when there is digestion of the food. Peristalsis of intestine means the intestine will help in the movement of the food. Okay, and this is due to the autonomic nervous system, which goes by itself. You take the food, and all the activities are controlled by autonomic nervous system. So we can go to peristalsis of intestine. And one more question we can go shortly. Mm, okay. Okay, then one more question, last question now. Parkinson's disease. You have the lunch now? No. Lunch, you have finished lunch, all of you. Okay. So now here. Okay, one more question, the last question now. Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease. Characterized by, sometimes they ask only character of the disease. The character is given in the question only. Characterized by tremors. Tremors. So tremors and progressive rigidity of limbs. Progressive rigidity of limbs is caused by degeneration. Caused by degeneration of brain neuron. Degeneration of brain neuron. Neurons that are involved in movement control and make. Involved in movement control. They'll control the movement of the body, movement control, and make use of neurotransmitter. And make use of movement control and make use of neurotransmitter. Make use of neurotransmitter. Okay, so Parkinson's disease. Which kind of neurotransmitter can be used here? Acetylcholine, they have given. Acetylcholine. Number B will be our norepinephrine. norepinephrine. C will be okay dopamine, and then D will be okay GABA, GABA, GABA. Okay, GABA. 4 options they are given here. Okay, now here there's GABA, GABA. Okay, this is the other name of the neurotransmitter. So whenever we have, suppose we have what is a neurotransmitter? Parkinson's disease is a disease which is characterized by tremor. Tremor is there in the limbs and progressive rigid, and the limbs will rigid and there is tremor in the limbs. This disease is known as the Parkinson's disease, and this disease is caused by degeneration of brain neurons that are involved in movement control and make use of the neurotransmitter. So, okay, it's caused by degeneration of brain neurons that are involved in movement control and make use of the neurotransmitter. So here, during the Parkinson's disease, there is a neurotransmitter called as a dopamine. So due to the absence of dopamine, because dopamine will control, this is a neurotransmitter, and which control the nerve in the brain. Nerve in the brain, dopamine will control the nerve in brain which are involved, which are responsible for the movement. Okay. So if the brain and the nerves are damaged, which are responsible for locomotion or movement due to absence of the dopamine, then a person will suffer from the Parkinson's disease. So write down there one point there. Okay, abnormal release of neurotransmitter, abnormal release of neurotransmitter dopamine. Abnormal release of neurotransmitter dopamine causes Parkinson's disease in humans. Causes Parkinson's disease in humans. Stop there. It is caused by the degeneration of brain neuron. It is caused by the degeneration of brain neuron that are involved in control movement. Look at that much. Okay, so we stop here today. Maybe you have some other class, no? In this class, no? Okay, let's check it.